Now we understand what segmentation is. Let's talk about how we break up email content based on that segmentation. So for example, contacts in the last 30 days will receive 4 emails a month. Contacts in the last 60 days will receive 2 a month, and contacts in the last 90 days will receive 1 a month. Here is a weekly example of ascending cadence, and this is just 1 week where all the segments will be getting an email. So for example, on Monday, they're getting their usual email. So it'll be 1 for the 30-day engaged customer, 1 for the 30-day engaged contact. On Wednesday, the 60-day people are getting their bi-weekly email. And Thursday, the 90-day people are getting their monthly email. We're going to be jumping back to the Cadence template in a second, so I can show how this all looks over the course of a month. But when it comes to this, the idea is that we would actually have 1 email for this week, and it will be going to different smaller sends. Now, when we are sending those sends, we want to make sure we do exclude the other sends. What I mean by that is, this is one from a client that I did where we are sending emails to people who engaged in the past 7 days. So their account, they actually had a much quicker turnaround time when it comes to engagement. What we also want to make sure is we don't send to people who purchased and engaged in the last 7 days. We also make sure not to send to people who bounced, either hard or soft, or also people who have done a spam complaint. Another thing you've noticed here is in Klaviyo, I turn off smart sending. I personally don't see the tool as being very worthwhile. Now, the reason why we are excluding is, again, we're sending these people their own separate email, which means we can actually modify the content for that one email. So for example, in the 7-day engagement audience who have not purchased, we might have a special promotion for those people. On the flip side, people who have already purchased, it might not make sense to give a special promotion. Or it might make better sense to have a special offer just for them because we know they've already bought. Now, stepping back into the campaign cadence template, earlier we set up these dates. That means when it comes to the segmentation over here, and actually I'm going to freeze this column so it's a little bit easier. This is how I would set it up. So for example, the 30-day engagement people are going to get 4 emails a month right here on the 5th, 10th, 15th, and the 29th. Now it could be it's the week of 1 to 10th or the week of 1 to 5. When it comes to something like this, it really depends on the data in your CRM. If you notice, people tend to react the best who are in the 30-day engagement segment on Monday versus a Wednesday. One thing I want to make super important is when it comes to performance marketing, where you do have this data in front of you, is so much of this based on the data that you have. It's 100% possible to listen to other people who are in marketing, and they'll say that Monday is the best day. That may be true, and it may not be true. So typically what I'll do is I'll just set up a test like this and see how this goes for the next couple of months. It could be that 30-day engaged does the best right on Monday. It could be they do better on Friday. What I do want to make sure is that each one of these segments are touched at least once per month. So that means the 30-day engaged contact will get a send of the 1 to 5 email. 30-day engaged customer will get a send of the 1 to 5 email. These are the bigger days where we have multiple emails going out to different segments from 30 days down to 90 days. One thing I like to do on days like this is I like to send out the email first to the most engaged people and see what the data is. This is a great opportunity to say split test subject lines if you want to increase your open rates, especially for people here who aren't as engaged. If you know people in the 30-day engaged contact segment are more likely to open an email with the subject line, great. Since this one is going out, either today or maybe later in the week, it's a good idea to actually use the data you get from the 30-day segment for the 90-day segment. And of course from here, this is where you can use the notes section to say, okay, the 30-day engagement is going to be getting, this A/B test. The 60-day and 90-day is going to be getting the winner of whatever happened in that 30-day engagement. So with that being said, this is how we can mesh sending cadence and segmentation together to get better results for our emails. This allows for a better user experience for our customer. It also increases our sending ability and deliverability. Now I know at this point we're probably ready to start building some emails and building out the segments, so let's jump to the next section of the course.
Hey, it's Dane from the training you just watched.
And I want to thank you honestly for getting all the way through the video. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and even leave a comment on something else you'd like me to cover. Down below in the comments and the description, I have some free resources for you guys to take care of, so just go for it. Business is hard enough. I'm just trying to give as much as possible.